What we've been doing this year as part of a trial Bring Your Own iPad class is that we've been experimenting with different ways of doing things, different ways of accessing the curriculum, and alternate ways for children to express their understandings of different topics. One really exciting opportunity that we have available to us is to use iBooks Author to create curriculum materials to support children in their learning journey. These iBook Author ebooks that you can create can include interactive materials and multimedia materials that really have the ability to bring topics alive for students. So what I'm going to show you today is an iBook that we're currently working on that is meant to support Year 4 history. So I'll just tap on it and open it. And this is an iBook that is meant to support the teaching of Year 4 history, which is about the early journeys of exploration leading to the First Fleet and early settlement of Australia. One of the features of iBooks Author is that if you highlight a section of text, it will allow it then to be read aloud.
Through this chapter you will investigate the European journeys of exploration and how these journeys led to the making of a British colony in Australia in 1788.
On this page there's also a YouTube clip embedded as a widget titled The Age of Exploration. If I go on to the next page, this has a few key questions that have come from the curriculum. There's a photo. There's also an historical map, which is a primary source of information, which is important in terms of history. If I tap on that historical map, you can see that we can provide children with the current day map, which can then be a point of discussion for the comparisons between the two. If I keep going over the page, another feature of iBooks Author is that you can include a glossary of terms. So if I tap on one of the words, you can see that I've created a glossary there that defines that word. Another feature of iBooks Author is that I can highlight a word or group of words. I have the option to actually highlight it. I also have the option to create a note where I can type information. There's a map there which I can tap on for it to become bigger. Continuing on, another feature of iBooks Author is that you can embed a number of different types of quizzes in there to check the children's understanding and for them to receive feedback on their understanding as they go through the resource. Here you've got a number of images of navigational instruments that were used by the early explorers. We've got some historical terms there that are included in the glossary. These blocks of information on the early explorers are to support the students in a research task, and they're actual scroll down windows of text. A number of these are also pop-up images, which means that I've given the pop-up image which shows the exploration or navigational route taken by that explorer. We come to the next chapter, which is conditions in England prior to the decision being made to send the First Fleet to New Holland. There's a number of images here of life for children in various situations in England at the time. These are scroll down blocks of text about different people living in England at the time. Here's an embedded keynote, which basically just gives the timeline of events that led to the decision being made to send the First Fleet to England. We come to the next chapter, which is all about the First Fleet and the journey. This is another feature of iBooks Author in that it's quite interactive. I can move the map around, I can explore different parts of it, and I can tap on the various dates to see what has happened on that date with regard to the journey. I've included an activity there, or an idea for an activity, where the students can actually use that map, take it into another app and map the route just to check that they've understood the journey that was actually taken by the First Fleet. I've embedded a number of movies here that I created to represent a convict woman.
My name is Mary Bryant, and I was sent as a prisoner with the First Fleet aboard the ship Charlotte. I was born in Cornwall in the United Kingdom to William and Grace, and we were a fishing family. I left my family to look for work in Plymouth, England, and that's where I started getting myself into a bit of
There are 3 of those. There's also an embedded YouTube clip which talks more about Mary Bryan, the convict. There's a link here to a database, a searchable database, which children can use to investigate the convicts who were really on the First Fleet. There's a number of images here with information below them about the types of people who were on the First Fleet. Any of those images, of course, can be used in other apps by the children to create a poster or to create a profile. There's a primary source there, which is a routine on board a ship with various questions. And there's also an embedded movie, which is an example of a Google Earth animation, which shows the temperatures on board ship at different points of the journey.
So what we've got here is a Google Earth animation that was created as a result of a primary source, and that is the daily noon temperature recording that HMS Sirius Lieutenant William Bradley made in his weather journal that was maintained over the course of the First Fleet's journey from 1787 to 1788. And as you can see, there's a colour code here which tells you the approximate temperature that the fleet experienced as they went on their journey. So if we start in the United Kingdom here in Portsmouth and follow it down, you can see that the temperatures start off as reasonably moderate, around the 15-degree temperature. But as they continue and head to Tenerife, the temperatures get significantly hotter, which would have been nearly unbearable in the cramped conditions below deck. The journey continues and they reach.
And that's the project as it stands at this point. And as you can see, it presents an exciting opportunity, I think, for teachers to present curriculum materials to students in such a way that they're really engaging. Another really great aspect of iBooks Author is it allows us to differentiate. Students are able to access the tool within iBooks Author or within the iBook that allows text to be read, and they're allowed to access the glossary to find out definitions of words. A further really exciting aspect, I think, is the ability that we have for students to actually add to iBooks Author as part of a creation process. And in doing so, it's providing them with an authentic audience, because the resource that we can be building together can be a resource that supports children the following year in the same curriculum area.